Start. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Bishara Jaude with the Marketing Shtick. Who do we have today? We've got Trisha Lamb. What's up,
Hi
Trisha?
there. I feel like I was a little left out. I've been on a couple in probably about 3 months or so, I
Yeah,
think.
you've been taking a
Yeah,
break.
I don't know. Finally brought me back in. Feel like I'm
Um,
in a circle again.
I'm glad you're back. And one of our resident specialists here that joins us, Joe Norton, like the antivirus.
Yep, that's right.
Does that
How's it
ever
going,
get
everybody?
old?
No, I used to introduce myself that way at parties in college. I'd say Joe Norton, like the antivirus. And
No.
then it just so happened, years later, I ended up working at an antivirus company, but not Norton, a competitor. So
Right.
yeah.
I've never heard
That's
that.
that's that's pretty cool. I was in California a couple of weeks back, and there's I thought about you. There wasn't an Norton antivirus building, but what is it? McAfee had a pretty big building. These
Actually,
were
Symantec's headquarters is the town next door to mine. They're in Springfield. So literally they're right next door.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're very excited here at PML. We have our Vegas trip coming up, right?
Yeah. I'm actually wearing my t-shirt from Las Vegas trip.
All right. Representing.
Getting very excited. And Trisha has a new one lined up for this
If
upcoming
I
one.
would have known we were wearing that, I would have gone and put mine on. We could
So
have
there
been
was a
all.
new there's a new printing mechanism that I don't remember who on the team brought it to our attention. It's not ink, it's like bleach.
Bleaching it.
Yeah, so it's
What's
you
it
put the
called?
stencil on just like how you would do silk screening, but you spray it with a bleach compound and it really discolors the shirt. So really there's nothing added onto the shirt, no ink or anything like that.
It's cool.
Yeah, I checked with our silk screening company, and they do that. So we're gonna try to attempt it for our next T-shirt.
Wow. I've never heard of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. So it keeps the shirt soft. It doesn't, you know how your shirt gets kind of stiff,
Crunchy.
yeah, crunchy. Yeah, so they get rid of that. So I had a monologue prepared for this session here. You know, like when you're watching Hannity or anyone on like one of the big stations, they start the show with like a 5-minute monologue, like hating the world.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, the rant. Yeah.
so yeah, the rant. I have a rant. I have a rant prepared. I just Range Rover, man. Their new TV commercial is really upsetting me.
Stressing you out?
What's going on?
It's stressing me out, and it's giving my dog anxiety at the same time. So I don't know, like back in the day, not Volkswagen, Subaru was huge on dogs in commercials in TV.
The dog family or something they called that, or it was called like the dog family for Subaru.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so listen. I think we were looking this stat before the show. Like almost 60% of households, homeowners have dogs. So obviously, it's a big common ground. And as a big brand, you feel like, okay, I'll take that slant, and I show I'm dog friendly and that kind of thing. I'll better resonate with my audience. We all do it. That's fine. But Range Rover, and some brands started picking up on it after Subaru. I think Subaru was the pioneer, and then Volkswagen did it. And now Range Rover's most recent TV commercial has these like vicious wolf-looking dogs barking at the Range Rover as it approaches the house. And my dog, man, goes nuts every time he sees that commercial or hears it. So I'm programmed now to mute or switch channels the moment that commercial comes on. So it's delivering the opposite effect. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
they're trying to resonate with dog owners, but they're actually triggering
dog owners. Triggering the dogs.
But why would they use vicious dogs? Because normally when you use a vicious animal, it's like a bear or a tiger. It means like rugged and tough. And I know that
Range Rover
would do that, but still a dog or a cat being the symbol of a commercial is normally as a family member, and it's love, and like that's what they're trying to portray in my mind.
Well, I think there's a little bit of, Range Rover has a certain cachet and image they live up to. And it's that, the Range Rover that they're promoting has an aggressive stance on the road and that kind of thing. I can see how it relates. But when you want to resonate with an audience, you don't want to annoy them or trigger that element that you're resonating on. And they're not the only ones. I mean, there are also commercials that have doorbells.
Yep.
And it sounds so realistic. And if that doorbell matches your home doorbell or sounds similar to it,
yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
my dog runs through the door and starts barking, thinking like someone is delivering a package or something. So
doorbells are like the one thing that really sets Moose off. He goes nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't like when commercials have that. But speaking of frustrating commercials, on a unrelated note, not pets, but frustrating commercials, Alexa stuff. So there's been a lot of Alexa commercials. Sometimes they pop up in TV shows. I'm also getting this a lot when I'm watching Twitch. I'm a fan of watching live streaming on Twitch. And sometimes people on there will be talking to Alexa as like their DJ. And the problem is it's always triggering my Alexa. So I don't like when third parties are trying to talk to my Alexa,
It's like an invasion of privacy, right?
I know.
like this is like someone, because Alexa is like an appliance in your house now,
right?
It's like
talking to my fridge.
Yeah, it's like someone coming in and doing the wash in your washing machine.
Alexa, turn the heat down.
No, seriously. I mean, it's interesting, but I'll tell you though, Joe. I know at least for Google, I listen to satellite radio, and Google now has a lot of commercials or radio spots to show you how you can leverage the assistant. And in the spot itself, they actually speak to their Google device by using the trigger word. And my Google doesn't trigger when that's being done. Do you know how do they control that?
Like I actually was a big fan of the Super Bowl Alexa commercial. That was hilarious, where they had all like the celebrities answering the questions, and so articles came out after the fact where people were wondering this question. Why weren't the Amazon Alexa commercials triggering everyone's Alexas? Because they said the name a million times. And it turns out Amazon was very smart about this. They, in their commercials, muted a specific frequency from 3,000 hertz to 6,000 hertz. And that's like, I guess, the target range that Alexa looks for in order to, trigger the,
the response.
The greeting. Yeah. And so Alexa, when Amazon is making commercials, they build in this technology, right? So it doesn't mess with your stuff.
That's cool.
But the hassle is everyone else who does anything that touches on Alexa has the potential to mess with your stuff. Yeah. Particularly that South Park episode. I don't know if anyone saw it, where Cartman made an infinite loop of Siri, Cortana, OK Google, and Alexa. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, frequencies could really be interesting on how you can mute some or exaggerate others. Like. That's called ASMR. Joe wanted to jump in before people start like tuning out of the show. Yeah. That's it. I don't know what happened to the host. He went haywire and started moaning on the microphone.
That is so bad. Oh, people like potato chips, Fritos, anything, bags ruffling. It just gets me. I can't stand. I got to walk out of the room.
But ASMR is a little bit different. To an extent, I kind of get it. Like, it's not just like hearing someone eating in the theater or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like specific kind of sounds that cause like a physiological response.
Enjoyment.
Right. Yeah.
Enjoyment.
Like this is a personal story, but I'm going to bring this out for this segment. So when I was a young kid, I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. I distinctly remember this moment. I was taking the SATs. All quiet room, everyone's penciling furiously. And I had a question. I raised my hand. The teacher comes up to me and starts whispering into my ear directions. And dude, it gave me shivers and like melted me. And I remember feeling like that was weird, man. Like I'm getting back to this test. Yeah. And then years later, I hear about ASMR. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's what friggin' happened to me in the middle of taking. I think it was actually. FCATS is actually what I think it was, the Florida test. But yeah.
Wow. So you had a euphoric reaction to someone like live ASMRing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Name for that, right,
Yeah, well, you should go back to the same teacher and just have her whisper again in your ear, see if he has the same effect.
It was a her. Thank you very much. But
yeah, was she saying like dirty things to you, or how?
No.
Like how did she?
Talking like, how to fill in the bubbles, you know, or something like that. I don't know.
Could you feel like the whispering as well? Like
it was just like the tone, and I don't know what it was, dude. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. But when people say they don't understand ASMR, that's the part of me that's like, I think there's something there, something physiological that we don't entirely get.
Right. I really think that like Coke really has done this for years.
Like cocaine or
Coca-Cola?
No, the Coca-Cola.
Oh, Coca-Cola. Okay, we're trying to keep it PG-13 here.
They always have like the opening of the Coke and then somebody drinking it like you were like disgustingly drinking your coffee, like, and it just makes you feel refreshed. It makes you want to go out. You know? Do you know?
Yeah, that's been a big trend recently. I've been seeing more and more of those kinds of ASMR focused commercials coming out. I think brands are starting to get.
Yeah, but I think Coke is a great example. To Trisha's point, Coke did this before the. I mean, first of all, ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. So it's almost like an orgasm that you feel in your
eargasm.
Yeah, eargasm. But it's a tingling sensation that travels from like your brain to your neck to the spine, and so you feel it. It's a metaphysical reaction. But Coke has been doing this from, I wouldn't say day one, before ASMR was probably coined. We all remember the can being opened up, or the bottle, and the gas escaping, and hearing that noise, or even the noise that I'm hesitating to actually replicate that noise because I'm not going to be able to do it right. But the can opening up, or the gas escaping from the bottle when you pop the lid off. And then I think Coke programmed it in us as those who view those commercials to have that exhale connected to the opening and the gas escaping. So it's like, and it's open. It's like, like you have that exhale kind of built into it. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a 1-2 punch. Yeah. It's like, oh, I got it. Open it. Oh, relief.
It's like my life was so tormented until that opened up, and all that anxiety and stress flowed out of my body.
Yeah.
But think of it. It's such a win on Coke's behalf to marry that sound and action of opening a bottle or a can with a feeling, with something that we feel when we see it. We think about it, we feel it. Some people, your mouth may water. It's such a win, seriously, for a brand to kind of get into your life that way.
And always,
I mean, Coke is like, I feel like they're one of the really standout brands that, they kind of do a really good job of linking you back to your childhood, and you start going there every time you revisit the product.
Yeah.
But like, I've been seeing this kind of thing in commercials, emphasizing the sound and the sight of the product.
Kit Kat.
Specifically for foods where you can't get the taste and the smell, which are so essential to your food experience, that they're really relying on the other ones, on the audio visuals.
In the absence of smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision, ASMR will do.
Yeah.
Right. Wait. Okay, so have you ever seen the visual, like where it's like sensational with the visual, like when somebody's power washing something and they're cleaning it all off? It's like it makes you feel really good.
Yeah.
Or the
first thing I thought of when you said that is because I started seeing her on TV. Now she has her own TV show, Dr. Pimple Popper.
I was thinking of that too. Yeah.
I don't get that satisfaction at all. I don't get it. But obviously, I'm not the norm. There are millions of people watching those videos.
I know someone who confessed to me that they like watching that like somehow it de-stresses them. And I was like, that's disgusting.
I get nauseous.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter showed me
And so,
my daughter showed me a video of a water balloon and somebody throwing it from a long distance, and it falls and it doesn't break. And it almost just makes you angry that it did not break, because you want that to break so bad. It's just like the weirdest thing, like this visual sensation and
Was
ASMR.
it in slow motion?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Slow Mo Guys is a channel on YouTube, and those guys get sponsored by brands daily. They make millions of dollars on their videos, and it's all about slow motion things that are like addicting to watch. To see something fly through the air, or a baseball getting hit with a bat and seeing it deform when it hits the bat, and seeing that at like 120 frames per second is very satisfying.
Yeah.
And brands obviously are jumping into that, right? So brands are sponsoring those creators. And, it all started with the Will It Blend folks from Blend Tech, and they would blend iPhones and all sorts of crazy stuff. And then everybody took a different approach. The Slow-Mo guys, Gain Detergent paid them, I don't know how many $1 million a few months back, to do a slow-mo thing on Gain, and dirtying stuff and spraying ketchup and mustard in slow-mo onto stuff.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So brands are obviously jumping onto that bandwagon. And I think, to loop it back to marketing, I think a big aspect of this is the growth of YouTube advertising, is creating YouTube videos and using them for pre-roll and driving traffic to other campaigns. So the traditional TV spot is not cutting it on YouTube anymore. You want something that will hook the viewer within the first 5 seconds, or they'll click skip. So the viewer is so empowered now, and those brands want to create great content. And what better way than to go out to a creator that has a few million followers already and doing almost product placement within their videos, and that's working really well. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I just came back from Google Marketing Live, and there's so much info was communicated through those 2 days, and Google put out a really cool show. We were talking earlier about Google and the Assistant. I don't know if you noticed, now there are different voices that you can pick for your Google Assistant.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so when you go into the setting, and you can do this for each, like I have several around my house, you can give a voice to each one. Some of them are freaky, like natural. You think it's a human. And now you can activate this thing where it listens for a little bit after it gives you the answer. So you can say, what time is it? I don't want to say the word because my Google will wake up. You say, okay, what time is it? And then it will tell you what time, and it will listen for a little longer after that. So you can say thank you, and Google will say you're welcome or whatever. Or you can ask a follow-on question. So it makes it like real-time dialogue that you're having. So that's pretty cool. But to entertain us at Google Marketing Live, they had John Legend come do a special show for us. And I was wondering, I mean, it was so awkward, right? Like John Legend, he's like
very sensual
R&B sensual stuff, like baby making music. And it just wasn't, it didn't resonate. I mean, we were
executives,
like a room full of marketers that met each other for the very first time, a few hours before. And then he gets on stage and he's like, if you're here with someone, look him in the eyes and tell him you love him. Like, oh my God, ouch. So it was pretty interesting. But I looked into it a little bit further to see like why John Legend. It just didn't make sense to me. It turned out that he has a pretty deep integration and relationship with Google as a company, and they're creating a voice for the assistant with John Legend's voice.
Oh no, really? That's cool.
Yeah, because he has a good voice. I mean, John Legend, when you hear him talk, some people say like he has a good radio voice to essentially mean that he has like a deep kind of confident voice, and that's pretty cool. So I can't wait for that to happen. That would be pretty cool. But it was so interesting to hear how some larger brands are connecting with their audiences. And what impressed me the most is one of the marketing leads at Domino's gave a talk about how Domino's Pizza was such a good comeback story and what they're doing and how they think of themselves. So it was really interesting to hear them out. And we all remember Domino's terrible pizza. They woke up from their coma. They were like, okay, we're going to do something about it. So they came out transparently and said, okay, our pizza stinks. We're going to change it. They even did like taste testing when their pizza lost, right? Like we're talking about Coke versus Pepsi when they do the taste testing back in the day. The brand always won. But with this one, the brand lost actually. And they stood up and took it, and they upgraded their cheese, their crust, their ingredients, all that. So they fixed their pizza first. And then what they were explaining is that they think of themselves they want to digitize everything. They want, in 2 years, they want all the orders coming into their franchises to come digitally. They don't want you picking up a phone and calling. So you can order, they were the ones on the Apple Watch. You can order it from your watch. They were the first company in the world where you can do e-commerce with an emoji. So if you have an account with Domino's, it has your phone number in it and they have your address. So all you have to do is send them the pizza emoji. They will send you back a thumbs up emoji, and that means your order is in. And they will send you your regular order. It's pretty cool. So they said they had like over 50 different digital ways you can order a pizza.
Wow.
But the coolest innovation, let me go back. So what they were saying is they perceive themselves not as a pizza company or a pizza brand that has an e-commerce platform. They perceive themselves as an e-commerce company that pizza is one of their products. So that changes. I mean, it's such a small nuance, it's a play on words, but when you think about it that way, you start thinking about innovation completely differently. And you think about, how do I get my product, regardless of what it is, into people's hands and into as many people's hands as possible. It was a very impressive talk. And we all saw the newest campaign. The newest campaign is the whole paving thing where they pave roads and whatnot. But the new one with the hotspots, right? So I saw this on TV where they talk about pizza hotspots. And they talk about how they can deliver pizza to hotspots and not to your home now, if you choose for that to happen. And I saw the commercials before I went out to Google. And I always thought about, like, okay, let's look at another gimmick. Like, there's nothing to it. But when they showed us what that means, it was mind-blowing. It's such an interesting concept. If you think about it, if you call in for a delivery, you have to give an address for the delivery driver to bring you your food.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So with the hotspots, you don't even have to have an address. Now imagine, Trisha, you have kids. Like, imagine how many times you take them to the park, or you take them to the community pool, or you take them, like, the park is almost like a perfect destination for a kid's birthday party. And not being able to deliver there because there's no physical address, or if there is a physical address, you may be too far away from it, like you're in the woods somewhere. With the app, you can identify hotspots. There are almost like geocaching, that you can walk towards. And that would be your delivery spot. And the driver knows to come to that spot. So what Domino's essentially did is they created virtual addresses, so to speak, to areas that never existed and they never delivered to before. So this is not an old way or a new way to deliver to old customers or existing customers. This is a new way to deliver to brand new customers that they've never had, right? Like, this
opening
is
the doors.
Very incremental for
so this is not a physical, like, location that holds pizzas. It's like a saved GPS coordinate that they know to drive to, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so think about it. You're at Love Park in Philadelphia. A hotspot could be near the Love Park statue.
Okay.
Right? You're hanging out with your friends at Love Park, soaking in the sun, and you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to get some 2 liters of Coke and 2 large pizzas? And all you have to do is order and select your hotspot near the park statue, and you'll get a notification when your driver gets there or when they're about to get there, and you just meet them there. So you don't need to mess around with addresses.
It's almost like Uber Pizza.
Uber. Yep.
Very similar technology, but the hotspots are predefined. So when you log in, you'll see what's near you. And we tested it when we were in Santa Clara, I think it was the city we were in. Even in a congested city with high-rise buildings and whatnot, like we're not talking a country setting or a park or Central Park or anything like that. Even in the city, there were multiple hotspots around us. I saw some that were in like bus stops where you would wait to get on the bus, like main landmarks that you can't miss when you're trying to find them. But yeah, it was really.
Can you imagine waiting at the train at Temple and you can have a pizza delivered like to your platform or something? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, or the community pool or the park or like a ski lodge or something. Like it's the possibilities are endless. But I mean, I was sitting in this session and I'm thinking to myself, how can we introduce innovation at that scale to some of our clients? Because that's a game changer. I mean, what is Pizza Hut going to do to compete with this, right? If they try to emulate it, it will look like they're copycats. And if they don't, now what? Where do you get the ideas from?
Yeah, their best bet is to partner up with Uber Eats or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously other innovation. That's not the only innovation, but it's cool to see brands really break out and do things like that. It definitely like jogs your brain and gets you thinking. But
that's really cool. That is very cool.
Yeah. Domino's Pizza. I actually don't like their pizza as much. I don't think they have.
I don't know that I have had it in like years.
I haven't had it in forever either.
I'm feeling like I'm gonna just go ahead and go like sneak somewhere like weird that normally wouldn't deliver and try it out and see if it works.
Get the app. But yeah, it's it makes me want to order a pizza just to experience it. I mean, the whole thought of ordering a pizza with an emoji, that's like, you can't beat that. Like, you could be upside down, blindfolded, and just send one thing.
Do you remember the movie The Net? Like years back, this was Sandra Bullock, and she was like a programmer, hacker type lady, and she was all working on the internet, that kind of thing. Anyways, a crazy scene in that at the time was she ordered pizza online, and like it was just like a website. There was no. This was like before e-commerce really was a real thing. And that's what this reminds me of, like just completely opening up possibilities.
New thing. Yeah, another thing that opened up a whole new things for me is last week I finally got rid of my router and I went with Google Wi-Fi, and I got four pucks, and I have one in my office, one in the living room, one in the basement, and one on the second floor. I got to tell you, my internet speed around the house has gone up. Like
game changer.
Crazy. Oh my God. Huge. Yeah.
Are those the mesh networking
mesh
type?
Network. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a gig connection at my house, and I was using an Asus router, and in my office it was fine. But Tommy came over to work from my house the other day, and we sat in the dining room further away, and I was having connectivity issues. I'm like, come on, I'm like a geek. I should never have connectivity issues in my house. And I traded that in. You can't beat the mesh. I mean, having an antenna in the various spots in your house, it kind of gives you full coverage. And I had it set up in like 5 minutes. The platform is so intelligent and intuitive through the app. So yeah, if you're struggling with internet, go with the Google Wi-Fi or any mesh network, really. This show is not sponsored by Google. We are looking for sponsors, however. Anyway, guys, I thank you so much for joining me today. Episode 12, we made it to the dozen. We probably won't have another show until we're either in Vegas or coming back from Vegas. The idea of doing a show near the swimming pool is a really cool idea, but we'll have to see how we can get the technology to work. But we'll try it, no promises. Trisha and Joe, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.